Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? Hello, everybody. Beneficial Z here, and as you can see, I popped out the old green screen because I haven't used it in a year. And I decided I wanted to check out this new snapshot on Minecraft that they've added bees. Ramen. Okay. Anyway, I tried it out a little bit in creative mode. Let's create a new world. I'm going to try my best to be a beekeeper in this one. Beekeeper land, I guess. Allow cheats on. Okay. No bonus chest, though. That's way too much cheat. So apparently bees can show up in plains biomes, flower biomes, flower forests, and I think jungles, but I don't know. But there's also a way to summon bees by bone mealing or growing a tree sapling. So yeah. I just moved my camera so you can see the snapshot number right at the beginning. If you didn't see it, go back and screenshot it or something. Alright. Sun's just rising. This is a plains biome, right? Well, in any case, I'm going to need these flowers for when my trees grow. Because I'm going to need to use them to either attract the bees or help them pollinate. I could have an underground bee farm, but that's a little too far. But yeah, the goal of this is to get like the artificial beehives, which you can do. The beehives in this game are called, oh! Look at that! Hi there, Mr. Bee. Oh, where's your beehive? Oh, shit! Hi! Guys, you can make a baby bee. Come this way. Come on. You can attract them with flowers too, so. This bee is my friend. Alright, so if you go like, and then they're gonna breed and make a baby bee. Oh my gosh, look at them! Alright, come on guys, go back to the beehive. We'll put out some flowers for you and then you get to fucking work. Alright. There you go. Oh, they're all the way over there now. And believe it or not, you can put a lead on them. Hey, Mr. Chicken. I gotta get some materials before the sun goes down. Because this is a survival let's play. And the way to make... Hello. Hello. Okay. It was lagged out for a second there. Those snapshots are usually buggy, so I don't really blame it. Also, I am horrified of bees in real life, so if they start to attack me, I might scream. But yeah, so we got the beehive over here. That's cool that we spawned right next to one. Oh yeah, I can use that stick. But now we have a sapling, and I think it's like every 1 in 5. Oh shit. Oh shit. Alright. Like every 1 in 5 saplings produces a beehive bearing tree. And hopefully that's the case, otherwise I'm just spouting fake facts. But like, it's not every sapling that makes a beehive bearing tree. But it's still pretty cool that actual vanilla Minecraft is adding bees, because you've probably seen mods with bees and like everyone keeps having to add them, but now they won't have to. But like if you if you play a mod with bees and you have the bees snapshot, then you'll just have 2 different types of bees, but that's fine. Look at my skin. FLOPHAWK made it. Look at that. Check it out. He made it sit off of my skin that I made, but like, he made it quote unquote better. Hey there, little guys. I'm afraid of you. Wait, where was the beehive? There it is. I'm gonna build my house near this place because, well, first I'm gonna make a crafting table. I'm gonna check the chat real quick. I don't know if anyone's on. Oh, hey! Wow. I know how that feels, except I haven't had a girlfriend in like a year. So here's the beehive. Oh, also, yeah, something about these seeds. You're gonna need them later because you can actually pollinate crops with bees. But I'm just clearing this field so that I can put my house down. Oh, did this one already grow? Yeah, it is so cool that they're adding bees. I hate bees in real life, but like these bees are actually hella cute. Like, can't say no to these bees when they ask for flowers. Also, you can migrate them into obviously migrate them into an artificial beehive, just like real life. And you can smoke them out if you have a campfire. But yeah, this is actually going to be like maybe like an hour-long video where I just test out these features. There you go, guys. Go ahead and pollinate. And once you're ready, you see this beehive here. It's got little holes in it. Oh, birth sapling. Shit. Alright, it's got little holes in it. And once those holes fill with honey, you know you have a ready beehive. And you can actually take shears. It still freaks me out because, like, the noise of bees gives me, like, fear. But, like, you can like shear the beehives and they give you honeycombs. Of course, the bees get super fucking mad at you unless you smoke them out. Or you can use a bottle of an empty bottle and get honey. Shift. I better make some shelter here. Otherwise, I'm going to be attacked by zombies while it's nighttime. I think shelter's more important than tools in this situation. Wait. Maybe I should get an axe, though. Axes, like, wooden axes are already overpowered. The only problem is you don't have that sweep attack like you have with a sword. I still think this snapshot's pretty cool. I need to go get more wood. Also, those saplings will grow eventually, and then you'll see. And you'll see a world of true imagination. I like how he spawned in a plains biome. Like, that's crazy. Like, I was like, oh. The first thing I said was they spawn in a plains biome. I learned this from Dan TDM. But this... I was about to say this mod is pretty cool, but it's not a mod, so... Oh, hey! I have him around my finger. Come with me, Maurice. That's his name now. Oh, shit, another Maurice. Thanks for the egg. I don't know why I like throwing eggs so much. How do you guys like my green screen? Let me know if I should keep using it. If not, I'll just pack it up and put it back in my room. But you can't see it now because I've set the difference ratio so high or low or whatever it is. But there's a lot of wrinkles in my green screen, so I'm like asking my parents for a new green screen since they're cheap. No one would ever think that green screens are cheap, but they really are. Yeah, I wouldn't ask for an expensive gift nowadays. I've learned my lesson. Ask for an expensive gift for your birthday and you'll never get it. At least from my parents. I don't know if that's because they're cheap or something. I don't think they are. They're pretty good people. But, I guess my friends all get like, oh, I got a Nintendo Switch for my birthday. Yeah, cool. I can't even afford a freaking computer. Look at this thing. It's like a toaster. Okay. Don't worry, Yuri. You will see her again. Alright, cool. I gotta hurry. Thanks for the egg. Oh, I made a baby chicken. Okay. I think right there is where I will put the wall. Now, I am aware I need light in here so that nothing spawns. Oh my god. Darn grass. Yes. And then I need a door. Wow, I have 6 planks left. Alright, I'm just gonna... Well, it's not quite night yet. There's the beehive. Do they attack mobs? It'd be so cool if they did. Since it's not quite night yet, I can still grab some tools. And maybe I can get some experience while I'm waiting for the night to go by. I hear that a day is about 20 minutes in Minecraft. Don't know how true that is since it's already night and I've only been recording for 12 minutes. Poof, 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 poof. Alright, here we go. Alright, now I got enough for tools because I was lucky to pick up these sticks. And I got food. You get a pickaxe. You get an axe. I'm going to get a hoe as well. Because I'm going to be testing out this crops thing. I haven't gotten it to work on my free time, so I don't know about it. Thank God for apples. Ignore that part where God banished man from the Garden of Eden because of apples. Get a sword. And finally, a shovel. Alright. Oh God, it's nighttime. Good time to eat my ramen. It burns. Not sponsored, guys, although I wish I was. Burnt myself. Watch out for creepers. Zimbo. It's a Zimbo. I need your flesh. Yes. Come and get me. So you thought. There's lava over there, isn't there? Unless there's a... No, there's lava. I was gonna say, there's a frickin' village. I wonder if you could, like... I wonder if they're going to add a new villager profession. You know, like a beekeeper or something? Yeah, I know. You guys are cringing from eating rotten flesh. Yeah, this is the beekeeper update. I do have the bees, but it's nighttime, so staying alive is more important. I think they go in their beehive at night. I think that's what happens. Oh no, there's one. That's the baby. No, that's the adult. That's the second time in a row that I've thrown an egg and it's produced the young'un. Oh, you're trapped? No. It's weird how many chickens are around here. I hate spiders. No, they should make spiders smaller in this game because they're not realistic. I need that string. I need Trapper. Amang. Oh. I am the bees, that's right. Crepper? Oh boy. Yeah, there are no sheep, buddy. Wait, there is one over there. If I could kill some sheep, then I could... Ow? Freaking get... What hit me? I could freaking get a bed and sleep the night. There's a sheep right there. And also Zombo. Oh, and also Skelly. And also Speeder. But I need Speeder if I can't do the sheep thing. Time to run back. I've already explained this, Katie, and stop trying to play the game for me, please. Oh, shit. Ha. You will not best me this time. Imagine if zombie villagers could open doors. And you don't have to, Cadian, please don't explain the game for me. I don't mean to be rude, but just please don't. Yeah, I know. But, like, seriously. I'm just gonna disable that, I'm just gonna hide that chat on the stream. Damn it! Wait, where am I? God damn it. You know what? Just explode. And there you go. Stop following me. Bees saved me. God damn it, I'm a mile away! Why were there so many mobs? Is it a full moon? I can use these. Yes, thank you people for dying. If you don't know about the full moon thing, then you obviously don't play Minecraft. There. Why were there so many goddamn mobs? Like, seriously. Where'd those spiders go? I need them. Wait, there was sheep over there. What are sheep? Seriously, what the heck, man? Die, sheep. Oh, that took forever. Huh, I only got one wool. Hey, chicken. Alright, there we go. Oh, more bees over this way? Hello. Don't hit the bee. Just pick up all these eggs. No more sheep. Aha. Wait. What? Swamp biomes are rare. Also, sheep don't live in swamps. Just so you guys know. If you're wondering what that looming shadow was, that was a FedEx truck. Whoa. Okay. Oh my gosh. Steam notification. Which way? I guess I'll have to die to find out. Where is house? It's this way, right? Ow! Ignore this, guys. Aha. Alright, and now, just to pay myself back. There. Payback. Alright, I do need stone, because I need to make a furnace to cook my meat. And it's kind of perfect that there's coal right here. Don't worry, I will get back to the bees. That's not stone. That's andesite. I hate andesite. Although it makes good walls, not gonna lie. Now I can make torches as well. I know, I haven't gone up to make my stone pickaxe. Shut up! Alright, I'm gonna keep mining this coal until I'm out of coal to mine. Or until my pickaxe breaks. One of the two. See, I was smart to do this next to my house in case I fell into a cave, which I probably wouldn't because I know not to dig straight down in Minecraft. Alright. Time to make stuff. Where's my crafting table? Oh, shit. Ugh. My crafting table got destroyed in the explosion. Alright, here we go. We gotta make a bed first and foremost. Alright, there we go. Alright. And then we make a furnace. Okay, I suck at dragging stuff. Alright, I'm gonna do this. Don't worry, this house will be more grand. I think I'm gonna do a full survival let's play on this snapshot. Alright, here. I did not mean to do that. There we go. Come on in. Okay. If you misbehave, Mr. Chicken, you're gonna end up like these mutton. Thank goodness. Wow, I'm really healing. Gonna make some cooked mutton and cooked chicken. Alright, so about the bees. Oh, there's a lot of them. Oh, and the beehive is full. See it dripping? Alright, bedtime. Like your place, Mr. Chicken? Oh yeah, also, I'm gonna make some more sticks. So now I got 8 sticks, which is all I should need. I'm gonna make pickaxe and axe. I can use the hoe for fuel. Alright, hoe. Hoe. And I guess shovel. Nobody really needs a shovel in Minecraft because you can dig pretty well with your bare hands, but I like to have a shovel just to appease the crowds. Alright. Time to sleep finally. Oh yeah, and I was gonna, yeah, obviously I got that hoe for a reason. Stay in there, Mr. Chicken. Oh, hi there. Hi. Ah! Okay. That actually helps me because now I can do this. Alright, I'll show you what I do. Thought I heard another creeper there for a second. What? Alright. Okay, time to hoe. Don't jump on it. It's an auto jump. I use auto jump for a reason, but it gets annoying sometimes. It's a good thing spiders aren't hostile. But you better not eat the bees. Alright. I need to get armor as soon as possible. So we back in the mine. Oh, I need some of that coal. Don't want to let Mr. Chicken out. So I need iron to do really anything, honestly. Or I could make a glass bottle. But I also need... Here's some sand. I need sand to make glass. I'm going to be a proper beekeeper here, though. And smoke out the bees before I use their honey. And I'll show you how good the honey is. It's actually really good. You can use it to make sugar as well. Wait, how do I make a fireplace? Alright, I need to go get more wood. Oh, these grew. Holy crap. You don't want to put the fireplace too close to the beehive because the bees will hurt themselves. Oh, this explains a lot. No, not really, actually. When you think about it, that doesn't explain anything. Hey, Mr. Chicken. You're my pet. Alright. I need logs. I'm just going to cut this down as well. Now the real reason I need iron is because, well, let's face it. Wait, no. Well, I need iron because I can use it. What was I saying? Oh, God. Alright, here we go. go. Alright, so what I'll do is that, and then really honey filled. There, you smoke them out. And then they're not mad when you get their honey. What you're supposed to do, though, in real life, is supposed to get a beekeeper suit. Here, I'm going to feed you, okay? Glass bottle. Alright, I got this glass bottle, and I'll show you how the magic happens. See the beehives being smoked out? And, like, if you... They're not mad. Ha ha! Better grab all this. Oh, yeah. And then, okay, so I'm at the perfect... I'm gonna put a torch down here. That way I can always sleep at night, knowing there's no monsters literally under my bed. Hey, Mr. Chicken. How you doing? I'll give you a light. There we go. Alright. What was that? They've also found, like, crystallized sugar in the game files, but you can't craft it yet. But you can make sugar out of honey. And you can also drink it, like this. New noise. Yeah. I better keep this bottle for the next time they... decide to make honey. Oh yeah, I remember why I need to get iron. I need to make a bucket. So I can get water, so I can put crops next to their location. Alright, time to dig down in Minecraft. But not straight down. Always have your cobblestone ready. To plug up a hole. Andesite. What's our F3? It's at 54. We avoided the diorite. Gravel. I am aware. Use a shovel. Oh, my inventory is almost full. Time to go make a chest. Wait, what's my Y down here? 44. Not too bad. And I'm near 0, 0. The origin point of the world. Alright, time to make chest. glass ready. And X. Sleeping time. Oh, hey, Mr. Chicken. Haven't grown up yet. X, chest. And now you can open the chest. Rotten flesh, arrow, feather, string, andesite, gravel. Could use flint. I need that. You're still being smoked, but you're not honeyful yet. What the heck is this tree doing? Owie. Was not aware that was gravel. Wow, that lag. All right, cool. And then what if I did this? Wahoo! And it's a me, waha-hee. Alright, and then wait, no, I got an idea. Plug? Plug both. Alright. What the fuck? Okay. How many seeds? I got 10 seeds? Okay. Alright, that's how you make crops. Don't let anyone else tell you different. Hi there. Bees are really cute in this game, so... But try not to get too close, because, you know, stingy stongy. Just like in real life. And also, if they sting you, they will poison you. It's the only beehive nearby, which is really odd if you ask me. Lilies of the Valley. We're gonna basically make a flower biome here. And if you bone meal flowers, I guess other flowers pop out or something? At least sunflowers do that. I guess that's how it's always been, but I didn't know that. Yeah, the lilies of the valley. Yeah. Like that. Oh. 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 Oh, yeah. Wait. That's a cornflower? But it's blue. What the fuck? What? Hey, Mr. Chicken, you've grown! Hi, Mr. Chicken. Oh yeah, I remember when I was getting bone meal. I get this, and then I... Oh yeah. Hi, Mr. B. Alright, let me test this, okay? It's just sunflowers? Pollinate that bitch. It's full. Be careful. Yes. Alright, now I will show you the magic of honey. Now, you can make sugar with honey. You can also do this in real life, but not with a crafting table. So you put it in here. You get 3 sugar out of it. Oh yeah, I was gonna bone meal some saplings. I have saplings here. Put that there, and then... Oh shit. Alright. A little bit of reforestation going on here. Alright. $64 bone meal. Oh, look at that! Yay! Now we have bees over here. That's not an axe. I had to make another fireplace. Yeah, now you know the noise when a beehive is made. Huh. There we go. Cool, huh? Whenever I'm like breaking tree leaves, I keep thinking there's a creeper nearby because of the sound the tree leaves make. Let's see if we can make like an army of bees, okay? It's almost been an hour already. Yeah, let me know if you want to keep the green screen going. Oh, I need to get flowers. Hang on. Hello, fishy. Alright. What are these? Oxide daisies, do they bone meal? No. I need all the flowers. You wouldn't think you'd be collecting flowers in Minecraft since that's like a girly thing to do. But when you got bees... Oh, also, I gotta get shears because I gotta do the honeycomb thing so I can make the artificial like beehive. You know, like they have at like bee farms. There is a zombie nearby. Oh look. Hey. Okay. I got you flowers, bees. Right here. I'm gonna make like a organized bee zone, and there's possibility for farming involved here. Because you can set up so that you can cornflower. What comedians they are. You can set it up so that you can harvest crops by using bees. Yeah. Saplings everywhere. Oh yeah. No beehive? Cut it down, okay? No beehive. I'll cut it down later when it's daytime. That is big tree. One over here. That's not a tree. No beehive? No hive bee? Sleepy time. Okay, wheat seeds. Alright. See you later, Mr. Chicken. Walks out of house, falls in 6-foot hole. God damn it. Whoops. Accidentally bone meal grass. Look at that. Oh no. Oh no, I improved nature. Go back to your beehive. Dang it! Told you, it's like really rare. God damn it. Oh! Okay, so if I I hear bees. Why did they not sound happy? Oh, hey, bee. There you are. What's up with this one? It's just... Oh. It's glitched out. Quality game design! Hi there. Oh, I'm an idiot. I'm dying now. And I hope these bees aren't mad at me. You don't have a stinger, right? You're about to die. Oh, you're not mad anymore. Okay. I better eat that raw mutton, or cooked mutton. Cooked chicken. Sorry, Mr. Chicken. Alright, let's see how this beehive's doing. Nothing. Don't hit bees in Minecraft. It was glitched out. Am I wrong? Hi, Mr. Chick. Oh, thanks for the egg. Hey, make more eggs. Okay. Here's the tree I chopped down. Alright, bone meal. Wow, white boy. At least I'm like reforestating the area. Oh my god. The fuck is that? What the heck? No beehive, huh? Alright, I'm about to finish this episode. Because my dad's coming over. Oh. You lay egg? Where? Aha. Go back, well, go back house. Hey, Mr. Chicken. You're gonna have a partner soon. As soon as you lay a viable egg. Or I can just chop down some grass. Hi, other Mrs. Chicken? Come on in. I'm gonna make them have baby chicken. It'd be so cute. The seed that bears fertility. What? Alright. Hey, guess what? You're gonna make a baby. Yay. Oh, look at him. Thanks for experience. Look at that. Saplings. I need those. Yes. Another chicken? What? Alright. Oh. Okay. Mr. Chicken. You get seed now. Okay, you're welcome. Hey, wait a minute. He's still following me. He's still following me. I'm sorry. I have to. It's the way of life. How are my crops doing? What if I did this? Whoa, flowers grew. What's this? Azure bluette and cornflower. You make me laugh. Ha ha ha. That is big tree. Okay. Wrong button. Dang it. Oh my god. It's just a forest now, and I still don't have more beehives. Hi there, bee. Oh my god. Poppy. Azure bluette. Hi there. There you go. The stingers intimidate me. Alright, do we have more honey? No. I got to breed more bees to. Oh! You give honey? There we go, another bee. Another day, another bee. Where'd that bee go? That scares me. That noise scares me. You want to make a baby? No. You got a family of chickens in here. Alright. Good night, everybody. Almost. I need to make a chicken pen, so hang on. Yes. Yay. Bedtime. Alright, time to go make you a new home. Alright, let's see. We'll put it like right here. I heard that. You being productive in there? Alright. And finally, yes. Alright, come on, my children. Yes, very good. Very good. Come on in. Baby chicken. Yay. Oof. Yikes. Sometimes tree growth jump scares you, you know? God damn it. There were like no trees in this area before. Well. What I'll do is... What? Why is that dark? It's not like it's by water. There we go. What? Is more beehive nearby? Alright, well, I think that'll do it for today. So, thank you everybody so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little snapshot. I'm looking forward to 1.15, which I guess should be coming out soon if they're already making snapshots. Maybe not super soon, but like within the next year. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share with all your friends. And as always, I will see you all in the next video.